Hello, everyone. Dear friends, today, let's talk about Iron Mike Tyson. Before this boxer, almost everything without exceptions were called one of the greatest boxers in the history of the world. A person who frightened his rivals and lamented whether Mike Tyson was so good, how they talk about him for his weakness, opposition, and defeat by key opponent of Holyfield and Lewis. Therefore, today we will talk about Tyson's position. Which boxers did he defeat and how the level of these boxers was at that time get comfortable. And let's go to the pros. Tyson started performing in the ring. At the age of 18, he finished his first 19 fights knockouts, up to the 6th round, mainly in the first one, which itself is an incredible result, considering that, on average, he spent fights against opponents at 10 to 15 cm above him. By his first serious opponent, Tyson had Marvis Frazier's son, the legendary Joe Frazier. His father, he trained him from an early age, American amateur champion with good technical base in the amateur ring. Defeated such opponents as Tim Weiser, Spoon, James Smith, and Tony Taps. All of them were world champions in the middle 80s. Mike Tyson, in his turn, knocked out Frazier Jr. In 2S in a minute. The next opponent is Hayes Balt Cuban at his peak with a very good technical base, mobility, and the speed is also higher than that. Tana by 16, see Mike knocked him out in the 10th round. Next, Tyson knocks out in the 2nd round. World champion in cruiser, Vede Alfonso Ratlin was also larger in size. Tyson, then T-shirt in his 20s, enters the championship fight against Trevor Berbick. Of course is now the name, doesn't sound so convincing, but the 80s at the time of the fight with Tyson Berbick won. Before this unbeaten champion, Thomas Pinkman, gave the most competitive fight of the dominant champion. Larry Holmes defeated even the old one, Muhammad Ali. That is, it was one of best boxers who were in the top 5 division of that time. Mike Tyson dealt with him 2 rounds further. Belt unification against champion James Smith and the defense against his ex-champion, Thomas Pink, at 21. Mike Tyson goes to fight for the title, absolute world champion, against IBF champion, Tony Tucker. Tony Tucker at that time was invincible with record 35-0. By amateurs, Tony Tucker was the World Cup champion. By size, Tucker was 18 cm taller and heavier. Tucker was considered one of the strongest boxers of the 80s. Tyson confidently beat him on points. It's amazing how little Tyson managed to outjab an opponent who was a head taller than him and had an arm span 30 cm longer. After that, Tucker did not lose another 14 fights in a row, after which, already aged, Tucker gave one of the most competitive fights, Lennox Lewis, in the next fight. Tyson again goes out to an opponent who is 18 cm taller. Ontario Bixa is an Olympic champion, amateur, world champion, one of the most technical boxers of that time in terms of hand speed, speed of movement around the ring, and skills. He is in no way inferior to the same music. Before the fight with Tyson, it was invincible talent. Tyson ran him over, knocked him out in the 7th round. Further, Mike makes his 5th defense of the WBC title against legend Larry Holmes. Dominant champion for 5 years, included in the Boxing Hall of Fame, held the 3rd position in the PUNF rankings. Pound defeated Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, Trevor Berbick. Mike Tyson smashed him around the ring in 4 rounds. Many will say that Larry was out of shape and had aged, but after that, even older Holmes gave an incredibly competitive fight, Holyfield, and defeated many more tough fighters. Then Tyson wins by knockout in the 2nd round, drowning Tapsa, who was amateur World Cup champion. World champion in the pros and showed peak condition after that. Tyson goes out on another undefeated champion. Michael Spink, he was the one those who interrupted the hegemony of Larry Holmes, Olympic champion, at the peak of his conditions. Absolute world champion, in light heavyweight and super heavyweight champion boxer of the year, and a person included in the Hall of Fame boxing. who was in third line POW for POW. Unusually talented boxer, but Mike Tyson knocks him out in the first round for those who say that Spinks was small. Let me remind you, he was 12 centimeters taller than Tyson. If to transfer the level of this victory to our time, it is the same as Usyk in dominant style would have defeated Tyson Fury by knockout in the first round. Frank Bruno, another victim of Tyson, who was knocked out in the 5th round. Bruno clear puncher, 95% of his victories ended in knockouts, more and heavier than Tyson became world champion in the 90s. Bruno, in a fight with Lewis twice, shocked him and won the first 4 rounds of the fight. But with Tyson, it didn't work out that way. In general, Mike Tyson managed to defend his world champion title 9 times before his first defeat, and he did it in just 2 years, and against the best fighters of that era. Now, a question for you, dear viewers. How many times a year do current champions defend their title? After returning from prison, Tyson went out against Team Mike. Tyson dealt with him in the first round. Twice defeated one of the best boxers of the 90s. Donovan Radka, in a new way, won the title champion, taking it from Bruce Seldon by knockout in the first round. Think about it. Only Tyson in the mid-90s, being clearly on the decline, using drugs and training according to his mood, becomes a 2-time world champion at the end of the 90s. He even manages to defeat Francois Boutou, who was also champion, and Brian Nielsen, bronze Olympic medalist. Thus, Tyson incites in his career to defeat 11 world boxing champions, 3 Olympic champions, 3 fighters, included in the top 10 of the pound-for-pound list, and 4 boxers who were amateur world champions. But to make it clearer, let's compare him with modern fighters, for example with Usyk, who is now considered the strongest, or Fury. Usyk beat 7 world champions in Fury's entire career, only 2, and Tyson's main competitor with whom he is compared, Lewis 10. Thus, no matter what anyone says, and no matter how trying to belittle the merits of Mike Tyson, he was truly the strongest boxer of the 80s. And even being a shadow of his past self, he was in the top 10 strongest 90s in the entire history. We have not seen a boxing champion who, being on average 10-15 centimeters shorter than his opponents, would so confidently destroy opponents from the highest level. Never in the history of sports has there been such a fast and serial super heavyweight who could equally well defend and attack, while possessing impressive punches with both hands. Well, that's all for me. Thank you for your attention, and see you soon.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any future videos. See you soon.
Are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get